Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cryptids and Critters Paranormal. I'm your host, the Deuster. It's 55 degrees outside at Soggy Bottom. We are expecting some high winds. There is a storm front coming through, so we're probably going to get a pretty heavy rain, I would imagine. So I just kind of postponed doing anything outside and kind of the wind and the rain. And I'm just going to stay inside and do a few projects here. I'll get this video dropped maybe. Dee and I are working on our income tax papers, trying to get receipts lined up and all this kind of stuff to keep from getting raped by the government again. So anyway, I thought I'd share a few little stories with you about my grandparents. My father's father, he passed away when Daddy was 6 years old. In 1932. I never got to meet him. I've never even seen a picture of him. And I know where he's buried at. And I have him a tombstone made up. I got to go put up at his cemetery. But and my grandmother, the one I call Rooster, she actually passed away when I was 4 years old in 1956. I don't know, they buried her in the Orange Chapel Cemetery, and her grave was long forgotten for a while. And I took it upon myself several years ago to go to the cemetery, and I wasn't going to quit until I found her grave. Well, I did find her grave. I did put her marker up, and but anyway, I wasn't, like I said, she died in 1956. And I never, I was only 4 years old, so I barely remember her. And my mother's parents, Guy and Gladys Brooks, were the only grandparents I knew growing up. The granddaddy, he was quite a character. He was born in 1905 in Macon County, Tennessee, up next to Lafayette. And sometime around, say, 1927 or so, they come into Robertson County and married my grandmother. And they lived around Milldale. He worked for a funeral home. He actually he helped with embalming, but his main job was to drive one of the hearses. Now, Jake Barber he had two horse-drawn hearses, had one white and one black. The white hearse was pulled by a team of white horses, and the black hearse was pulled by black horses. And over the period of years, Granddaddy drove, I imagine, both of them. He was telling me one time that he was delivering a body to the home for a home viewing and a funeral. And he was going this down, and it was late of evening. He said he was going down this little narrow lane, and all of a sudden he heard something squeak in the back, and he happened to turn around and look, and the coffin lid was opening up. And so he pulled over real quick, and the guy climbed off the hearse, and Jake opened the door up to see what was going on. And Jake Barber just come out of there. He'd been hiding in the coffin. Come out of there and scared him pretty bad. And I reckon Granddaddy beat the crap out of him for scaring him like that. So if he ever done something like that again, he would kill him. But anyway, he was pretty well animated, They actually, they lived in Milldale. He went to the store one day, and something was said about the Klan. I don't remember what it was, but he made his brags. Hey, the Klan will never come mess with me. They know what's good for them. I'll shoot them all. They ain't gonna come mess with me. And a few, one word led to another. And he went back home that evening. He got to thinking about what he had said. And because he's pretty sure the guy he was talking to was probably a member of the Klan. But anyway, he was kind of keeping an eye out, and he heard these people talking, and he snuck down the road a little bit where he could see, and there was a band of 7 or 8 white robes with white hats on, white caps on, white pointed caps on, and carrying torches, and one of them was carrying a flag, and they were headed in his direction. Well, there was a little fork in the road. One to the right went to his house, and the one to the left went back out on the road again, somebody else's house. And he stayed there a little ways back from the fork and was watching. And he was hoping the whole time that it was getting closer and closer. Please don't go to the right. Please don't go to the right. So anyway, he hid up there in the woods for a while and watched them. And sure enough, they got to the fork in the road. They stopped, stood there looking a little bit. And then they turned to the left and went on about their business. And he snuck back to the house. And, and never had any more issue out of them. But anyway, and then a little later on, he decided, he's going to grow him a beard. And Granddaddy was tall and skinny, and he just didn't have the facial features for a beard. He looked more like a Native American than he did, a true American. He was dark complected. His face was drawn in. He got high cheekbones. So I'm pretty sure he probably had a lot of Native American blood in him. Cherokee more than likely. So anyway, he started growing him a beard. And it looked, what I heard here, it looked scurvy. I mean, it was just a scrungy old beard, and people was kind of making fun of it and didn't really like it, He went to the store one day, and this guy says, "Guy, you need to shave. You're looking bad." And he said, "Well, I'll shave when I get damn good and ready," and that's all I'm going to say about it. And there wasn't anything more said about it, so he got what he was going to get at the store and went back to the house. And it wasn't but maybe a couple, 3 hours that he was there doing something in the yard. He looked up, and there's about 6 or 8 people coming up into the yard. And one of them had a straight razor. And they come up into the yard, and one of them says, "Oh, man," I forgot to bring the mug and the soap and the brush." And the leader of the bunch says, "No, we'll just dry shave him. We don't need any soap. We'll just dry shave him." So Granddaddy says, wait a minute. Just don't do that." I said, "I don't mind you shaving me." He says, "Just let me go inside and get my soap and brush and the mug. And I'll let y'all use it and y'all can shave me. And I'll just sit there and let you shave me." So they agreed to it, which wasn't a good idea on their point. He went in the house, and all of a sudden the front door flew open. There he stood with a double-barrel shotgun with both hammers pulled back. And I had it loaded with rock salt. So he told us, "Now, which one of you SOBs is going to shave me, And they changed their mind real quick and left. And he didn't see any more of them that night or anything. So he got to thinking about it and said, "I'm not sure it's worth all this trouble." So he went ahead and shaved. And but Granddaddy, he was pretty well animated, He was tall and slender, He had a knack for repairing stuff. I'm not sure he fixed it like it ought to be. Some of it was just more or less rigged anyway. But he opened a lawnmower shop in Springfield, and I used to love to go over and help him. It was kind of in the bad part of town, and you kind of had to be careful, when you went over there or whatever. It was heated with a little old pot-belly stove in the middle of this little building that you could throw a cat through any crack in it just about. But he kept that little shop open for a while and repaired lawnmowers. We even built me while I was over there, we even built me a go-kart out of some lawnmower parts, and we got it home and played around with it a while. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to share it. My granddaddy, he passed away in 1987. He's buried up here at Hopewell Cemetery, just right up the road from me. Now, Granny, her maiden name was Eden, and she was born in 1910 and died in 1993. had to look the numbers up. I've got my family tree maker up on the other screen. But anyway, your granddaddy was one of 11 children. When they first moved here from Macon County, he brought all his brothers and sisters and his mother and father with him. So there they had, he had his small family, plus 11 of his brothers and sisters, plus his mother and father living with them. So, it's probably made for a pretty unique, I don't know how you'd explain it, whatever. But anyway, just trying to think of something else. There's something else I was going to say about Granddaddy, but I can't remember exactly what it was. It said he was a very unique guy, and I know he told me about those two dealings he had, with the Klan. Now, I'm not sure if they were 100% if they were Klan or not, or if they were just some nosy neighbors. But anyway, he used to take me out. He used to love to go groundhog hunting. We'd get out and groundhog hunt, and he always carried his old shotgun with him, and we usually carried a 22 or something like that with us when we went. And he loved to fish. He took us fishing every chance he got, and he wouldn't go buy any bait. We'd stop along the way to the pond we were going to, a creek or whatever, and there was a plant growing beside the road called a horseweed. And what it would do, this worm would get inside the stalk of the horseweed, and you'd actually just cut it. There was a hole in it, and you could cut it above and below that hole, and drop them down into a bucket or whatever. But they had this worm in them, and a bluegill and any kind of brim loved those worms. But anyway, like I said, we wouldn't carry any bait with us. We'd dig our own bait along the creek bank, or we'd find some horseweeds, and get the worms out of them, And once you caught your first little fish, you usually just use some of the fish intestines from that first fish to catch, catfish and things like that. But he was a great fisherman. So anyway, I hope you like this. Subscribe to my channel. Give me a like. Share it with your friends. Once again, I am the Deuster, the Cryptids and Critters Paranormal. And I'm going to get off here and work on some more income tax here. So thank you for watching, and we will catch you later.